Welcome to Friday Night Firelight, presented by Mortal Up. I'm Brian Brody, your host, sponsored by Nutrient Survival at nutrientsurvival.com, and of course, Firebugs at Firebugs, that's BUGGZ.com. Welcome to a very special edition of Friday Night Firelight. Obviously, it's not nighttime, but I wanted to share with you this simple thought, that maybe you don't get to stare into the flames of a fire, using it as a Rorschach test, finding out what nature is trying to communicate to you. And honestly, my absolute favorite, even more so than the flames, the flickering flames of a fire, my absolute favorite natural Rorschach test is a mountain stream. The water doesn't stand still. Like life, it just keeps on moving. It keeps on rushing. All the rocks, all the boulders, all the impediments, everything in its way doesn't seem to bother it. It just flows. And I'm constantly reminded, when I was little, of one of the first Bible passages my grandfather ever taught me. And Jesus increased in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and man. And you could take that to say, mentally and physically, but you can also take it to be spiritual. He focused on the things he needed to do in life, but he also set aside some time for the more natural aspects of it. Not necessarily making a living, but being able to slow down, what's the phrase, and smell the roses. There's another favorite saying of mine, when he says, the kingdom of heaven is spread upon the face of the earth, but we do not see it. So think about that for a moment. If the kingdom of heaven is spread upon the face of the earth, then nature has to communicate what it's like. Maybe it's not angels with trumpets and ambrosia and gold-plated everything, gold cobblestone. Maybe the beauty of heaven is natural, as where you and I are right now. So speaking of where you and I are right now, last week we talked about what we are, sponges, sucking up everything around us, whether we're aware of it or not. But where are we? Where are we in this kingdom of heaven spread upon the face of the moment that we're in? I like to think of it as the myriads. And quantum science is doing everything it can to prove to us that every instant in time is a fraction of the whole. Everything we see, everything we do is a makeup of everything around us. So the myriads, when we refer to the labyrinth of life, the up, downs, pivots, swerves, lefts, rights, constantly turning, constantly rushing forward like a mountain stream. That's our life. That's magnifying the moment. And the myriads mean that every instant, every fraction of an instant, every fraction of a fraction of an instant in all of time is a crossroad for you and me, is an opportunity to live life to the fullest, to be ferocious, to be grateful for the simple fact that you and I are even here to be ferocious. There's plenty of reasons to be distracted. But what if you and I were distracted from our distractions? What if you and I could magnify the moment? And in addition to figuring out what the flames have to say to you, what does the rushing mountain stream have to say to you? Because our life is passing by just as fast as this stream. This instant in all of time will be gone, well, it's already gone, as is that portion of our life. And that's the key to being immortal, is to realize we have to take advantage of this particular moment in all of time, because they are fleeting, they are fragile, and they are numbered. Who wants to live forever? How monotonous would that be? But as mortals, we're given the opportunity to say, what am I going to do to turn this moment right now? Because it could be one of my last. What is the universe trying to say to me? Where will I turn in the myriads for my next steps? Here in the mountains, you can't help but think about snow will one day, very, very soon, cover all of this. And then people will make footprints in that snow. And then a new snow will fall and those footprints are gone. So you can't rely on the path of another. So what are you going to do to make your own footprints in this particular moment in all of time? Because the creek, it just keeps running. Never stops. Just like your opportunity to take full advantage of the moment at hand, to magnify that moment, to be the true mortal that you are. And it's easy to get caught up in politics and just all of it, right? It's easy to get caught up in everything society offers in an attempt to distract you from the myriads. But as we talked about last week, you're a sponge. You're sucking up all of that opportunity. Whether you realize that or not, your senses are on high alert, pulling it all in. Now, you may be distracted, but your senses never are. They grab all the information they possibly can and then shuttle forth that little bit of all the spectrums, of all the myriads that you and I are able to handle. So what are you going to do with your shot, with your run in the labyrinth? Well, you might decide to mortal up, realizing that the true beauty of life itself is that it is almost over for us. I know it's a popular Buddhist meditation to talk about a death meditation. And a lot of people will say, oh, that's so gloomy. That's so morose to think about death. Well, I have a different take. Many people have a different take on it. Realizing that we're mortal, that there's time on the clock and it's running down. 2-minute warning. A 2-minute warning. So what are we going to do before the Grim Reaper comes for us? You and I are here in the myriads. The kingdom of heaven spread upon the face of the earth. That's its definition. So what will you and I do right now, in this moment, in all of time, to be the badass that we were born to be? To be ferocious in gobbling up all life has to offer. Of being distracted from our distractions and remembering who we ultimately are, where we ultimately are. And then that gives us what we're capable of, because we're capable of so much more than we remember. And that's the thought I'd like to leave you with. So before I invite you to stare into the flames, before I invite you to see what message they have encoded for you, take a moment and enjoy the sounds of this mountain stream. And what is it that it's trying to communicate to you? Have an absolutely fantastic evening and the rest of your weekend.